Next on Sisterhood of the Second Act.
Linda Kay Simmons is known for her historical fiction novels. Her fourth release departs from earlier works. Based on real people, Pissant and Cinderella chronicles one family's dark secrets. Linda joins us to talk about how this story of child sexual abuse is helping others. Laura Pohl is an oncology clinical nurse specialist at Smith Center's Director of Nourishment Programs. She helps patients use food to recover. Laura is here to help us eat better so we age well. We'll meet both of these women on this edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act, right after this.
Sisterhood of the Second Act is brought to you by looking for your first home or retirement home. Realtor Monica Nicely can help you find it. Whether you're moving in or out of the Roanoke region, call Monica 540-449-2019, 540-449-2019. Alcova Mortgage Loan Officer Jonathan Sweat helps you seal the deal with a loan to suit your needs with great rates and terms. Call Jonathan 540-314-8843, 540-314-8843.
Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508, MLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids said they be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Pat Lucas is committed to providing independent financial advice to individuals, families, and small businesses. Contact Pat at 540-798-8104. 540-798-8104. Securities and investment advisory services are offered solely through Equity Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, 4401 Starkey Road, Roanoke, Virginia 24018, 540-989-4600. Now from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle. Linda Kay Simmons is the author of 4 novels. Her role as a writer is her second act. She was a flight attendant for more than 3 decades, then returned to her beloved Moneta, Virginia. Her first 3 books, Cahas Mountain, Lamb on a Tombstone, and Lightning Shall Strike, center around her home in Franklin County. She draws on family stories and the history of the area. Her latest book, Pissant and Cinderella, is a departure from her other books in that it is not located in Franklin County and is based on real people. The book deals with childhood sexual abuse and comes with a trigger warning. Thank you for joining us today, Linda.
Thank you for having me. This is such an important topic.
It is. Linda, I see that you have brought a pinwheel with you. Tell us, what is that about?
Well, April is the month for awareness of sexual assault on children and to bring awareness to it. Last year, 618,000 children in the United States were victims of sexual assault or neglect.
That is so heartbreaking and terribly hard to understand.
It is.
Oh my goodness. So what made you want to write Pissant and Cinderella?
I did not want to write it.
You did not?
No.
Tell us.
The events that took place happened years and years ago.
Okay.
I knew the children involved. Well, it's 3 siblings, and the brother and the youngest sister were the victims. The older brother was
The perpetrator.
There were several perpetrators. And this book, I have to say right here, is memoir and it's fictionalized.
Okay. So to protect the identity,
Yes,
I assume.
yes.
And why is this now the right time to tell this story?
Well, I couldn't not tell it.
Okay. That's a very good answer. It was in you to tell.
Yeah, the time had to pass. I had to deal with my own sort of trauma of where I held this story in my body.
I understand.
And there are a couple of people still alive. I have to look after them. And so that's why it really took a piece out of me
I'm sure that it did.
to work on this story, to tell it, and to tell it well.
Yes.
And Pissant and Cinderella aren't alive anymore.
Okay.
They both died one in their late 50s, one in their early 60s.
Oh my
Taken
goodness.
way before their
Good
time.
Yes.
And I'm trying to honor them, and they had trusted me with stories and notes for when this time came.
So you feel that now that they're gone, it's okay to tell their story, and maybe needs to be told.
It needs
as
to be
well.
told to honor
It
them.
needs to
Yeah.
be told. We are talking with Linda Kay Simmons, author of Pissant and Cinderella. And tell us a little bit about the characters of the story. I see you brought the book.
I'm going to read you just a little bit, and know that I have edited, because this book is rough.
Okay.
And I give a trigger warning.
Okay.
And I have taken out certain things. But,
Okay.
Anyway, this one is about Pissant, and believe it or not, his own father called him that, and various members of the sexual community, men that sexually abused him, they referred to him that way.
To his face.
To his face, he was Pissant. So this is a couple pages
Okay.
on
I'm
Pissant.
ready.
And his mother ran a boarding house, and he slept in the hall.
I remember hearing
That part.
Yes.
In the middle of the blue-black darkness, when the texture of the moonlight plays upon the hall ceiling, the male boarders come and go, leaving me small gifts, chewing gum, toy soldiers, and goodnight kisses. I am 7 years old. The house creaks and shifts when the boarders visit me on the way to their rooms. After they leave, the dust mites float in the air, and I trace them in the dark. Before long, I hear snoring coming from their rooms. Weeks pass by, now I cower in the cellar. I've just thrown rocks and slammed the windshield of a parked car. A man comes out of the house and chases me down the street, but I run fast. I don't think he knows it's me. I'll hide here until I know it's safe to come out. The same man once boarded in our house. For months, he stopped by my cot on the way to his room. I was glad to see him leave. Then he purchased a house for Mother and moved up the street. He calls out to me when he sees me walk by and invites me in. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine how hard that was to write, and it's how hard it was to hear when you were privy to these conversations. Just to go a little bit more, I think people need to understand the story. There is also a paranormal aspect of this story, and how does that come into play?
I'm going to answer that question after I read this little segment on Cinderella, because it goes into that just a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I beg Mother for a nightlight, but she says no because I'm in the first grade and too old for one. I don't tell her that Golden Prince opens my bedroom door and watches me. He warns me not to tell my parents, and that if I do, I'll be punished. Please protect me from my brother, I say to Sunday school Jesus as I huddle under the covers. I don't want to play Tickle Monster again. But once again, Jesus does not answer my prayers, so I pray to Wolf Dog instead. Golden Prince plays the piano for hours. I hate it when he plays because it means he's in the living room and might come for me. Yet I'm nervous when he doesn't play because then I don't know where he is. Golden Prince's piano-playing fingers move all over me. I push him away with my little girl hands, but it does not stop him. I'm only 6. He finds me hiding in the closet, basement, and bathroom. I don't know what's going to happen, but his wicked eyes let me know. There's no point in struggling. Witnessing the fear in my face, he smiles. When he is finished with me, I stand in front of the bathroom mirror and see my heart cry. I should wash my face and brush my hair. I tell the mirror, no use, the mirror replies. I can't pay attention in school and my teacher scolds me. We've been practicing months and days of the week, but I don't get it right. Today is January 22nd, 1963, she says, pointing to the chalkboard with her ruler. When I look out the classroom window, I see Wolf Dog standing in a light dusting of snow. He comes now, especially when I'm screaming in my dreams. Wolf Dog lets me know Golden Prince's thoughts and tells me when he's coming, giving me a chance to get away. He's found a new hiding place for me now in the bushes behind the house. I wish he'd bare his teeth and kill my brother. The people, I believe, in a lot of situations, or I guess I should say some situations, split off.
Yes,
with
they
the
do.
abuse. They go to other realities. And Cinderella does this. This little girl does this as this abuse goes on.
So these characters were abused and deeply flawed. Why do you hope your depiction of them, what do you hope your depiction of them says to the readers?
Well, their lives are valuable. Their lives are so valuable. Pissant went on to live on the streets, but his heart was so big and genuine. He helped many, many people with his philosophy of life and protecting others, and always willing.
Unbelievable.
And Cinderella went on to be very functional in society. She embraced the metaphysical. She found a community that she loved with horses and horseback riding.
Excellent.
And she moved on. She
saved herself.
She saved herself. They both did.
Yes.
They were both valuable. Nobody's a throwaway.
We're talking with Linda Kay Simmons, author of Pissant and Cinderella. And this is difficult material to work with. How do you deal with it emotionally?
Well, you know what's helped me is all the book clubs that I've done.
Okay.
And the people that have come forward to tell their stories about this.
So you know you're reaching people.
Oh,
that
yeah.
need to
Oh,
hear
yeah. A gal in one of the book clubs came out and told me how she was made to be her father's wife when the mother took off when she was 9 years old. There's been a lot of stories like that. A 75-year-old man, he was the youngest of 8 kids, told me what he went through with an older sister.
Oh my goodness.
And I even had an 88-year-old woman at one of my events that came forward afterwards and said she had never told anybody this, but she'd been abused by her own father, and she cried.
Oh my
And she's 88 years old. It's the healing is in the telling of the stories.
Absolutely. And where can people who have been abused get help?
Well, there's Sarah in Roanoke is a place to start.
Okay.
They can resource you in to the proper channels or network. And of course, if anything's going on, call 911.
Okay.
I mean, that's the most important one. But there's also the National Child Abuse Hotline. Easy to remember, 1-800-4A-CHILD.
For a child, 1-800-4A-CHILD. And we will have all of this information. So I can't thank you enough for being here.
Oh, thanks so much. And,
It's my pleasure.
and I'm willing to talk to anybody or book clubs or whatever to help spread awareness about all this.
Okay, that's so important. We are going to have Linda's contact information in our show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondAct.com. And our next guest will be here to help us determine how to eat healthy for a lifetime. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Pat Lucas is committed to providing independent financial advice to individuals, families, and small businesses. Contact Pat at 540-798-8104. 540-798-8104. Securities and investment advisory services are offered solely through Equity Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, 4401 Starkey Road, Roanoke, Virginia 24018, 540-989-4600. Cabby Fashions take you from the boardroom to the beach. Dress for a garden party or a night on the town. Independent cabby stylist Darlene Marshall will make sure you look your best no matter what the occasion. She'll bring the store to your home for you and your friends or schedule a private consultation. Call Darlene 540-330-6819, 540-330-6819, or find her on Instagram at Dapper Darling, on Facebook at Darlene Marshall Independent Cabby Stylist.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids say they be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Looking for your first home or retirement home? Realtor Monica Nicely can help you find it. Whether you're moving in or out of the Roanoke region, call Monica 540-449-2019, 540-449-2019. Alcova Mortgage Loan Officer Jonathan Sweat helps you seal the deal with the loan to suit your needs with great rates and terms. Call Jonathan 540-314-8843, 540-314-8843.
Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508, MLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval.
Once again from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome back to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle. Laura Pohl is an oncology clinical nurse specialist and Smith Center's Director of Nourishment Program. She is also head chef for Smith Center Retreats. She joins us today to talk about how what you eat impacts your health. Thank you for being with us today, Laura.
My pleasure. I love to talk about food.
Well, you have an amazing resume as an oncology nurse specialist, integrative oncology navigator with over 40 years of experience in caring for people with serious illness. You are the co-coordinator of Smith Center for Healing and the Arts for Healing and the Arts Patient Navigation Training, Integrative Cancer Care. First, tell us, what is the Smith Center?
The Smith Center is in Washington, D.C. It's a nonprofit organization that is the only standalone organization that provides support services for people with cancer. And we base all our work on the belief that everyone has an innate ability to heal. We focus mostly with people with cancer. We provide support services. You mentioned retreats.
Right.
We have integrative oncology navigators who help people to navigate the world of integrative cancer care. We have programs. I teach cooking classes there. We have great programs which have all gone online since the pandemic, and now people across the world get to benefit from Smith Center's work.
That's amazing. And you mentioned, what is patient navigation training in integrative cancer care?
Yeah, so people may or may not have heard of the term of an oncology navigator, but this is a person, either a professional healthcare provider like a nurse or a social worker, or it could be a trained lay person, so usually cancer survivors themselves, who help people overcome the barriers to getting through the cancer experience. It could be financial, it could be transportation, you name it. An integrative oncology navigator goes a step beyond that in helping people who are interested in going beyond conventional therapies and including complementary therapies, let's say natural products, acupuncture, massage, meditation, and lifestyle practices. So our training trains oncology navigators to also know about integrative cancer care so they can sort of look at the person more holistically and help
the big
them.
Picture,
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. And why is integrative care important when treating cancer and other illnesses?
Yeah, so conventional cancer treatment does a great job of looking at the cancer, you know, and treating that. But there's a person that the cancer is inside of. And integrative cancer care, what it does is it takes the best of conventional care and also looks at the best of evidence-based complementary therapies like acupuncture, like natural products, and the best of lifestyle practices, and puts them all together in the care of the person so that the whole person is taken care of, not just the cancer.
Well, I like that. It sounds like it's a more individualist approach as well, since not everybody is dealing in the same way with the same symptoms. I really like that. We are talking with oncology clinical nurse specialist Laura Pohl and the role nutrition plays in our health, which we're going to get into. Nutrition is a major focus of your career. Why do you work to educate individuals and patients on the importance of nutrition?
I am so glad you asked that question. First of all, I want to say that actually my focus, sort of like I focus on integrative cancer care, it goes beyond nutrition, it's nourishment. So nourishment is the whole experience, not only the nutrients you put in your body, but everything else about eating well that nourishes the person. And there are other nourishments besides or in addition to eating well, such as getting sun, getting exercise, you know, having quiet time. So I focus on nourishment. It's really important for people because very often they have more needs than just knowing what to eat. They need to know how to do it, how to take that diet prescription and put it on the plate in their real lives.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do you help people translate this diet prescription to a plate of nourishing, delicious food?
Yeah, well, again, I like to individualize it to
Right.
what the person needs. But there are lots of ways you can do that. But I start by telling people 4 things that I kind of base everything on. One is there are no good or bad foods. Foods just give information. So soy might be very healthy for somebody, but for me, the information it gives me, I'm not going to feel good if I eat it. So I decide I'm not going to eat soy anymore because it actually makes me feel sick. Okay. So no good or bad foods. Foods just give information. Also, you can't eat dogma. So
Right.
with cancer, you know, everybody's, eat this diet. Oh, I just read about this, you know.
Yes.
And that may not be right for the person. So don't let people should on you, okay? Right. SHOULD, by the way. And a third one is eat real food, not too much, mostly plants. That comes from Michael Pollan. So eat real food, so I mean not things that come out of a drive-in window or a box, not too much, and mostly plants. And lastly, eat of those plants, eat a lot of vegetables. Right. So I start people with some basic things like that, and then you can build an individualized eating program around those principles. And so that's where I start with, and then if the person needs help with menu planning, they need to know how to shop, they need to know how to prepare, read a recipe, even how to eat in a way that's more health supportive. That's how I work with people.
Okay, so people can ask for a diet prescription from?
Yeah, no, not from me.
Not from
and
you.
I say I'm not a nutritionist.
Right.
I am a chef. So
Okay.
I didn't mention that. So I'm
Right.
a trained chef.
That's what we want to
and
know.
I say I'm a culinary translator. So people can get a prescription. A lot of times their doctors may have told them when they went for their visit, oh, it looks like you're on the verge of getting diabetes. You know, you might need to eat this kind of diet. You might need to cut out these kinds of foods. So they tell the person this is what to eat and not to eat, and then a culinary translator like myself
Yes.
would help them make that practical for their lives.
For their lives.
Yeah.
And we are talking with oncology clinical nurse specialist Laura Pohl about the role nutrition plays in our health. And one thing that came to mind just off the top of my head that I would like a quick answer to is I think sometimes people dealing with cancer, chemotherapy and so on are not feeling very good. Can you adjust meals so that they don't have a lot of cooking to do or something like that? Yes. So that if they're not feeling very strong or how you can make adjustments to work with each person.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I mean, so you have to think about that. People may not have any energy to eat, but there might be a time when they do. They can cook food ahead, freeze it, have their friends cook for them, their family cook for them.
That's a really good thing. And that people want to help. So this is a wonderful way for them to get involved for them. And are you finding more healthcare professionals are seeing the importance of nutrition in treating illnesses?
Yes. I'll say the good and the bad and the ugly. So the good is, for instance, I go to my primary care doctor, and the last several years, even though he knows he's preaching to the choir, he will talk about diet and healthy eating, and I find he's right in there with good recommendations. The medical school here, right down there, it's Carilion and Virginia Tech. That medical school actually has a culinary medicine program. Wonderful. So more and more physicians are being trained in that. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yet I still have people with cancer say they ask their doctor what to eat, and they say, oh, it doesn't matter what you eat, just don't lose weight, you know, that sort of thing. So we still have some barriers to break.
Well, you're doing a great job. And just to wrap it up, sometimes making food changes can seem daunting. What advice do you have for someone wanting to make a change but overwhelmed by all the information?
Yeah, I would say first, step back. Remember those things about you can't eat dogma, sort of take all this stuff that everybody's thrown at you. You might want to get some help from someone who's used to helping people with eating well. And just start slow and start small. When I first made these changes in my own life, I was working more than 40 hours a week. I had a weekend music career. I had volunteered for all these organizations, and it's like, I don't have a lot of time to learn this. So I started with one healthy recipe a week. And then after a few weeks, I had enough that, you know, I probably had enough food and for that week. So start slow and do this within what works for your lifestyle.
Excellent advice. That is really good advice. So Laura, thank you for sharing this information with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll have Laura's contact information in today's show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondAct.com. We'll be back to wrap up the show after this.
Kathy's wardrobe provided by Cabby stylist Darlene Marshall. See the styles in our show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondAct.com.
See where a grateful nation remembers its heroes, and where Thomas Jefferson came to relax. Where small town charm is just down the road from big outdoor adventures. Find peace and quiet, as well as the sounds of family fun. Destination Bedford is located where the Piedmont Plateau meets the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Where ordinary ends, Bedford begins.
Where there is nothing, artists see something. Where there is silence, they hear a melody. Where there is beauty, they create even greater beauty. In a region known for its beautiful mountain surroundings, our vibrant arts community makes the Allegheny Highlands a more colorful place to live and visit. Our passion for the arts is endless, and it's uniquely Allegheny.
I want to thank Linda Kay Simmons and Laura Pohl for being with us today. Linda's latest novel talks about the difficult topic of childhood sexual abuse and how to find help for these victims. Laura helped us understand how good nutrition can be used for treating illness. I'm Kathy Heberle. Join us next week for another edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act.